Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tiffany. How are you? We do fiber arts on this channel, whether that be knitting vlogs, hauls, reviews, streams, anything related to knitting, and today is no exception. I have been meaning to film this video for such a long time because Knit City happened, I would say probably like a month ago, but I'm literally just filming this the week before I meant to upload this. So I just wanted to go over my experience with Knit City. I hope you enjoy this more type style of knit and chat, and let me know if you would like me to talk more about specific topics and we can do more kind of maybe like a Q&A sort of video. Excuse the mess. I feel like I just get in these moods where I need to reorganize everything, and so everything is currently being reorganized. This is usually like my stream setup anyway, but all my books are there for some reason. This new desk that I have has become just like where all my whips go, and I bought like a circular knitting machine, so that's funny as well, which I've meant to make some patterns with, but hopefully I can do that in like another video. Thank you so much for Eweknit for sponsoring this video. They just released the most beautiful dress. It's called the Méridienne dress. I'll show it up right here, but it's like this cabled kind of like long sleeve mini dress, and I think it's so beautiful. They shot all their looks in the Palace of Versailles in Paris, and it just was so reminiscent because I was just there. It calls for a 5mm, which I think is stunning. I think anything above a 5 is relatively easy. Having to do a dress on anything under a 5mm would be disastrous. I don't even know how I'd be able to do it. But the pattern goes up to 4XL, so it's super size inclusive, a bust circumference of 165 centimeters, which we love. I really like the like kind of double broken rib effect that it has on just the skirt. Just like a really nice yoke that has very interesting details that work with just like a purl and a knit. So I think if you're looking for something that's a little bit different, I think it's a really nice pattern, given how the yoke is just like, it's not raglan, it's just like a basic kind of top down. You just increase, I think, every couple stitches. But yeah, like it looks literally so stunning on the model. But yeah, you can also find kits on their website. They use a Knitting for Olive heavy merino, as well as an option for a different yarn that uses your mohair, which you guys know I'm obsessed with. And I think it's just a relatively nice pattern. You can easily modify it. Maybe if you don't want a dress, you can kind of make it just a basic sweater, or even make it a longer dress. They actually sent me a code. The code is typical Meridienne. You can get 50% off. If you saw the pattern and you were thinking about trying it out, I definitely recommend using my code. And if you subscribe to their newsletter, you can get a permanent 20% off all their patterns. So if you have any in mind, I definitely recommend signing up for their newsletter. I'm a part of their newsletter. I love just seeing whenever they have sales or new patterns, or like whenever their cows are coming out. My code is active until November 4th, so definitely go and grab it while you still can. Let's get on with the video. So Knit City 2023, this is my second Knit City, and I guess third overall kind of yarn festival. I wouldn't say I'm like a pro or I really understand what's going on ever, but it was really nice to go. I got to go with a couple of my friends, so it was really nice to kind of show them. They're not knitters, but I've been trying to get them into knitting. We've been having knit nights kind of almost every week, and they've just been working on pieces. They did end up actually buying some yarn at the yarn convention. I thought it was really nice to kind of show people the, I guess, yarn knitting industry is kind of like, showing them different things that they've never seen before. Like my friend, like she gasped when she saw the sock knitting machines, and then they were also like awing this one woman who is using a weaving loom. They're like, what is she doing? What is that called right now? And I was like, oh, she's just weaving. She's using a rigid hittle loom, you know, like flexing my knowledge. And so it was really funny. I told them that it's like a little dream of mine to vend with typical bliss yarn. I would say I'm still quite a beginner, like indie dyer. So even thinking about vending is really ambitious. So telling them that, and them just like seeing all the different stands and them trying to give me inspiration, it was really nice to see. I think it's just really nice to go. They had Knit City last year, so I went 2022. It was super similar to how it was. I think it's honestly better to go midday, like not exactly right when it opens. I went on the Saturday, and last year I went on the Saturday, and I found that the first year I went, I was like, oh, okay, I gotta go right when it opens. You know, I'm like a little worried maybe things will, you know, sell out, or, you know, I won't have enough time kind of thing. But it's open for a really long time. I think it's like 10 to like 5 or 6. And there's multiple days. I'm pretty sure all the vendors have to be there every single day. I found that waiting in line and going in, it felt really hectic because there's just so many people rushing in. You know, everyone is just like trying to see as much as they can. But going on the Saturday, kind of a couple hours after, kind of after lunch, was the way to go. There was probably less people because everybody in the morning had already finished kind of their look around, and so there was lots of room to walk around. The stalls were all relatively big. Each were like really nicely sectioned, so it was really easy to kind of walk around and be able to take my time with looking at all the yarns. I only really usually take about an hour or two inside to maybe walk around 2 or 3 times, and I was able to get through everything and look through everything I wanted to without feeling rushed. So going into this Knit City versus last year's I was really, since it was my first time, I was like blown away by everything I saw. I wanted to grab everything, just anything that caught my eye was like an instant buy kind of thing. And this year I was kind of more held back. I didn't really want to get anything I didn't see myself using, because I'm someone to fall in love with a single hank and be like, okay, I need this. So I was trying to be really particular about what I was getting. Plus, I think this year I'm like still kind of on a yarn ban, which has not been super successful, but I've been trying to get back into it. Versus last year, I was like buying anything because it was like my first time seeing all these like new natural fibers and indie dyers and hand-dyed yarn. So I was like just stepping into this world. So being a little bit, being someone who's seen a little bit more, you know, we were trying to be strategic, and I didn't want to, and if I saw something that I liked, it would be sweater quantities or slipover quantities only. Lots of the same vendors, so last year to this year, lots of overlap, lots of the similar kind of stores that I saw last time. I love Ancient Yarn. Ancient Yarn is a indie dyer. I think they just opened up a store in Alberta, and I find that their yarns are always so stunning and amazing. I love probably all their yarns. I ended up picking up 2 things from them. I just got some dye error, just like a classic black. I'm so basic these days. It's the Lascaux Fine. It's 25 max low tan and 75% Punta Arenas wool. And so I saw these yarn and I was like, wait, I feel like I may have bought this yarn before. So funny enough, I went back and was like watching my previous video on Knit City, trying to figure out if I had bought this yarn previous. And funny enough, I had. So I haven't wound out, but I literally bought this exact yarn, and it's kind of scary to see how I gravitate towards like super similar things. So I thought if I bought 2 and used this guy, we could make like a sweater or something. But the colors are, yeah, you can see it. The colors are a little bit different. So I'm going to have to do something about that. We don't know. I'm probably gonna have to mix like a mohair or something with it, but it's the same content. Maybe I'll dye it because I'm a dyer too. So I could probably do a little bit more black and we could work something. I just really like the feeling of this yarn. I find that with indie dyers, you don't see a lot of kind of really rustic yarns. It's very like it's very like superwash, which I love, and so I just love the feeling. It's so really just really rustic. I don't know what the dye error was, but they have 40% off, which I will always appreciate. And it's a really nice yarn, and I cannot wait to make like a beautiful sweater in it. Funny enough today I'm wearing my Louvre sweater, which is the exact same sweater I wore to Knit City, but today is not the same day. I just love putting this guy on when I can, and I feel the most comfortable in it. So I wore this because again, I felt the most comfortable in it. And someone asked me what wool I used, and I was like, she's simply wool worsted from Knit Picks, which is probably not what she wanted to hear. She probably wanted to hear that I got it from like a local farm, but nonetheless, I am stunning. Okay, another place. Okay, so I'm just gonna highlight some of the places that I was like fangirling over. Again, every time I love to go see Kensington Prairie Farm. They're probably my favorite farm for alpaca yarn. I always go there. I always freak out about it, and I always try to pick up something because I don't often go to Langley. It's quite far. Like their farm is quite far from me. So being able to see them at just like these shops, it just feels like I'm seeing a friend again. And the owner she always talks to everyone, and she always talks to me about getting some cones. And I'm like, girl, you're hurting me. You're like literally gonna make me buy a cone here. But maybe one day. But I actually did end up getting again, yarn that I have gotten before. So I think I had bought 4 maybe of this yarn, and I just don't think it'd be enough for a project I want to do. But it's just the Kensington cotton alpaca blend, 35% superfine alpaca, 65% Tengu organic cotton. So these yarns actually come in the cone. She has it in like this cream, I think a gray, and like a brownie color. So just wanted to pick some of these up. It's worsted. I have so many of these, but they come in like weird grams. So like this is 98 and this is 152. So the pricing is kind of funny as well. But I just wanted to buy enough because I would love to make my own project with this. Before I was kind of like, oh, I'll just make like a mod tee with it or something, but I would love to make my own pattern with this, and I think it would be really fun. So if you guys have any suggestions, I was kind of thinking maybe like, again, like maybe a collared tee, maybe like a long sleeve, if we have enough yarn, maybe a t-shirt, a typical tee. Guys, I think that would be really fun to do. So I love these guys. I love Kensington Fibre so much. Every time I go, I will pick up something. Another place I was fangirling over, so Longway Homestead. I've talked about them in I think a video before, but I really like what they stand for. Family owned and operated farm in eastern Manitoba. They focus on local farmers, supporting their producers and their makers and the dyers, and been contemplating for a long time to get a monthly fiber pack where I think you can either buy like the full hank, or you can get like fiber that you can spin. So your girl knows, you know I'm obsessed about the fibers. But they had just a really nice selection. I didn't end up buying anything. I did fawn over the wool felted soles. I just like my mind was blown when I saw those, and it kind of makes me want to felt stuff. I want to felt things, and that's scary in itself. I think I want to start small, and I want to felt like little balls of like yarn. I just need to buy like a little block and like a needle and felt stuff, because I have like lots of leftover yarn that I would love to use for like different purposes, I guess. And I think trying something out like that would be really cool. Yeah, and they have like this really fun program where you can like sponsor a sheep. I was like borderline ready to sponsor a sheep, but I don't know if they're doing it because the last time they did it was in 2021. Okay, next place I was fawning over, Sunday Fibre Co. I love Sunday Fibre Co. Elise, I've seen her. I follow her on Instagram. She's from BC, and she hand dyes a bunch of beautiful yarns. I find that her colors are just the perfect shades of like neutrals and basics, but like with a pastel-y kind of hue to them. So she does really beautiful like blues and pinks and mauves and taupes. They had like a limited edition yarn specific for Knit City, and Sunday Fibre Co did it in Harvest Moon, and I loved Harvest Moon. Like if you look at that color, it was so stunning, but I think they didn't have any left by the time that I got there, so your girl was crying a little bit inside. Another place that I really was so in love with that I guess I didn't really that I saw last year, but that I didn't really think too much of, but it's Lily and Pine. So I didn't realize, I've seen it around everywhere. Like I've seen a bunch of other knitters use their yarn, and I was like, oh, like that's so beautiful. I've never like seen this yarn anywhere. And then I saw the booth and I was like, oh my gosh, this is Lily & Pine. And I love their colors. It's so vibrant and like fun and cute. And if you're like a really, I would say like bubbly and just really colorful just inside person, I think these colors would look so beautiful. My friend, she saw someone wearing like a really colorful cardigan, and I'm pretty sure it was like yarn from their store, and I was like, girl, you just have to get like a sweater quantity, but I was not going to tell her how much it was going to cost. They have some really fun stuff, and they have some fibers as well, and so I think their booth is so beautiful right here. I just love the look. A lot of booths just have like a bunch of screens with a wall of yarn, which I think is honestly the way to go because it showcases all the yarn perfectly. There's just a lot of more like neon, kind of yellow and pinks and like greens and blues, and lots of speckle stuff that is really beautiful. I didn't end up getting anything because, again, I was thinking more of like sweater quantities. I know I would have fallen for the trap of just buying a single skein, and yeah, we were not on that journey this time around. Just another place that I didn't really notice last year, but I noticed this year, was Hinterland. It is an alpaca and llama sanctuary on Pender Island here in BC. They just produce small batch rustic yarns, and I love their whole setup. It's so beautifully done. Like, you just go in, you're like, oh, they know what they're doing when you go into their booth. And they have like a bunch of like hand knit stuff that you can feel and try out. They also have like a bunch of patterns that you can go check out. I think that's also why they have a bunch of hand knit stuff, so you can see their patterns. But yeah, the shop is beautiful. I might just have to buy something online in the future because the colors are just like natural, and that is what I naturally gravitate towards anyways. Just so beautiful things. Like, honestly, go check them out. I highly recommend. And I just love going to Knit City because you get to see a lot of like local businesses here in Vancouver or BC, and as well as just all over Canada. And so I'd love to support. I think it's a really nice convention to go to, especially if you're someone who isn't from, you know, Vancouver or Canada, and someone who like might want to go see. Like, if you're from Seattle, I feel like a drive up would be so nice. Seeing a lot of different yarn in one place. I think it's really nice as well that a lot of stores actually go out and have booths. If you like don't have enough time to do like a yarn crawl, because a lot of the yarn stores here in Vancouver are kind of far out, then Knit City is also really great. You have Bad Anna, Bad Rabbit. They have like 2 booths, and they have like a bunch of nice yarn. Like, they'll always have the hedgehog fiber tweed that I will die for constantly, but can't get the courage to buy. And like Sweet Georgia, Your Next Knit also just goes. Overall, I think Knit City does it really well. I think they know what they're doing because they've done it for so long. They're branching out a little bit, so next year they're actually doing Knit City Toronto and Knit City Calgary, which I think is really cool. People who might not be from this area to be able to go and see Knit City for themselves and see different vendors from, you know, Calgary and Toronto go. It is my dream and my hope to go to Knit City Toronto, so if you do end up going, you might see me there. Fingers crossed I can book some tickets up real soon, because I'd love to go to Toronto and see again the different yarns there, because, you know, East Coast, West Coast, it's quite far away. Go to Eweknit and go to Knitting Loft and all these other beautiful local yarn stores that I buy from frequently but haven't actually been in store. I think it's really nice that Knit City is branching out, but I think that means that they're not having a Knit City next year here in Vancouver, and that makes me a little sad because like what am I gonna do for next year? So I know talking about this, you know, Wool & Folk has just happened, and lots of people had really bad experiences with it, and so I sympathize with them all, and I feel really bad about it. It honestly just sucks because this community is really nice, and it's really weird to think that you know, something like that could happen. It kind of made me want to do like a yarn market, maybe hold one. I know it's kind of like I'm Delulu. I'm literally Delulu. I barely am able to even think of the idea of like vending, just having my own booth. But after watching Mule & Folk, I was like, I could literally just have a yarn market and it would be like 10 times better. That's actually delusional. But since Knit City isn't happening next year, no. But also, low-key, if you have any like event planning tips, or like if you are in that business, like hit me up so you can tell me what I need to do, because I would love to look into it more. Yeah, that was just my experience at Knit City, just to show clips of my experience, because last year I was like way too scared to film anything, but this year I filmed a bit. My friends filmed me as well, so you can kind of see me in that environment, which is like hilarious. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, push the notification bell if you want to be notified when I post next, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.